Hi, me again. Glad you could join me for yet another exciting episode of Relay Football Focus. Remember last week I promised to come back to with a different topic around our beautiful game, and so today I'm going to look at why clubs recycle coaches and why we keep seeing the same faces go around from one club to another. And further, I'm going to look at how the young and upcoming coaches can actually position themselves to be able to change the narrative in the nearest future. Without further ado, I think let's get into it. Number one, I think it has always been it has something to do with the level of education and the regulation depending on the league. When I speak about education, you know that there are different levels in terms of coaching qualifications. The highest coaching qualification is the pro license, both for UEFA and for CAF, for example. Then you have A, B, C, and on both ends. Then CAF have actually gone further to have a D license and also the E license, which is administered by Member Football Association. And so depending on the qualification that one has, they might be able to qualify to hold a particular job in a particular league or not. For example, to coach in the English Premier League or to be a manager in the English Premier League, one has to hold a UEFA Pro license. If you bring it back to Africa, to Zambia in particular, the minimum ideally in the Super League is supposed to be an A license, but because of limited numbers of people that have that, I think there's been a special provision made that someone that holds a B license can actually be a head coach in the Zambian Super League. In certain cases, actually, some that actually have C licenses have sat on benches, and some still continue to sit on those benches. But the bottom line is that it's because of some of these regulations that you see the same coaches go around the clubs. You might have a very good young coach, for example, but he may not have the B license, he may not have the A license, and that automatically knocks him out unless certain special provisions are made. So there are these minimum standards that are put in place that one must have in place for them to go on and coach. So there is this licensing system, and because of this licensing system that you see some of these coaches repeatedly being hired here, being hired there. Not really that there isn't a lot of coaches around. There are quite a number of good coaches around, but then because of that regulation, you see these things happen. It just doesn't happen in Zambia, it happens in South Africa, it happens in leagues all over the world. There are these regulations that have to be met. And because of this, you find that clubs have now to make the available as they preferable. The person they prefer might not have some of these minimums, and so they go for whoever is available and has got this qualification. They give them the job. No wonder you keep seeing the same faces over and over again. I think that is the first thing that we must understand. Now, let's look at a little bit of numbers. In Zambia, in the Super League, you have 18 clubs. In the National League, which is the second tier, you have 18 clubs. And then if you look at the lower tiers from Division 1 to Division 3, there are about 18 teams in each league, minimum 18 teams in each level across the 10 provinces, which tells you that you're looking at, I think, about 540 clubs. Now, if you have those 540 clubs, if you add the clubs that are playing in the Super League and National League, you are looking at a minimum of about 576 clubs. Now, each club needs around 3 qualified coaches, minimum 3 qualified coaches to sit on the bench. That is your head coach, your assistant coach, and preferably a goalkeeper coach that is qualified. Already it shows that you need about 3 coaches per club, which means you need about 1,728 coaches to be able to fill the void. Now, at present, the ones that have A and B, which are more professional qualifications, are just around 300. If you also add those that have got C licenses, just around 300 against a demand of around 576. Already you see that there's a bit of an issue there. So what this means is that a lot more coaches that have got D licenses and E licenses need to upgrade to be able to get this chance to sit on benches and to be able to lead teams in the bigger leagues, if you like. Number 2. These coaches that you keep seeing going around over time have built names actually, and they've become brands on their own. And because they are brands and they've built these big names, that's why clubs keep hiring them. After all, clubs think that and believe that experience really matters. And so instead of taking a gamble on someone who's somewhat unknown, they'll rather go for someone that they know is a known person because of the experience that they've amassed over a period of time. clubs are not really willing to gamble. Look, it's cut and throat kind of business in the bigger leagues, if you like, at the highest of levels, and so people are not really willing to take a gamble on someone that is maybe unknown, someone whose styles maybe hasn't yet really got the recognition it deserves, and things of that sort. And so they'd rather go to someone that they already know because of the name that someone has built over a period of time. So they know what they are getting in terms of the value that this person brings to the table, in terms of what this person has done over the years, and this is the value. It's the value actually that attracts them to these individuals. That's why you see someone might be fired today. The next day you are seeing them at a different club, maybe in an even bigger job, in an even bigger club. It's because of this value that is attached to them and the value that they've amassed over a period of time, and it gives them the competitive advantage over maybe an unknown young coach or a coach that is just trying to come up. So I think that is the second reason actually. Remember, number one, we said that it's because of the education levels and regulations in certain leagues. Number two, we are saying that there are a lot of these names and brands that have been built over time, and clubs are not really willing to take a gamble, so they'd rather go for someone whom they know is experienced enough. Number three, the coaches that we see going around from club to club have somewhat over the years become specialists for specific targets or specific assignments. What are we talking about? You hire, you've heard of coaches that are specialists about maybe just about gaining promotion or about surviving relegation in a particular. If you talk about gaining promotion over the years, in England, you knew that a person like Neil Warnock was actually credited for bringing up a lot of teams into the Premier League. One of those is QPR. On the local front, there's Coach Noel Piri. I think he's brought a number of clubs to the Super League. You can say the same about Alan Kamwanga. Noel Piri, I think, brought Moza to the Super League. He also brought Real Nakonde to the Super League. If you remember, Alan Kamwanga did it with Indeni. He also did it with the Lumana Rangers, their first ever qualification into the Super League. So over time, you have this kind of coaches that have got this kind of speciality attached to them, and clubs are going to hire them because of that speciality. If you talk about survival, world over, it was known for a long time that Sam Allardyce was actually an expert at surviving relegation. Remember what he did at Sunderland? He helped Everton at some point as well when they were in trouble. You have locally coaches like Elijah Shkwanda was famed for that until quite recently, when things did not work out well for him locally. Patrick Piri is another coach that was well known to bring stability to football clubs. Keep them in the league. Remember how many times Nakambala kept calling him. He kept saving them. And so because of these specialities that these coaches have developed over time, they are hired by clubs really, and are preferred as compared to one who's just an upstart. Sometimes teams are just looking for continental qualification, and some are looking for titles. In Zambia, we know that if you're looking for a title, you go for a Wetson Renda. In South Africa, if you're looking for a title, you're talking about someone like a Gavin Hunt. Across the continent now, it's almost money. It's almost guaranteed that it's going to give you titles. Over in Europe, Pep Guardiola will give you titles. Jose Mourinho over a long period of time was doing that. There's Jurgen Klopp doing it now, and he was doing it in Germany. So because of these specialities kind of that these coaches have picked up over the years, they are hired, and really it's an understandable thing. Number four, why I think coaches are hired. And anyway, before I proceed, I hope you like this content. If you like, please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this content. Don't forget to share the content, and leave your comment in the comment section. Let's get interactive around this topic. Moving on, number four, I think there's a pulling power that comes with certain coaches and the kind of respect that they get from their peers, from players, and equally other players in the football industry. There are certain coaches that are actually intimidating, even to referees, even to the opponents. Way some years back, that some referees have actually come out in the open and said some referees confirmed that they were actually being intimidated by Sir Alex. Just the presence of the man himself is a whole presence, really. And so these are some of that is one of the things that maybe a club would be looking at, because in a way it gives them an advantage actually over the people that have the potential to decide the ultimate winner in a particular match. Sometimes it's about the pulling power of attracting a certain caliber of players, really. Players, especially in the modern game, only want to play for certain coaches. They don't wish to play for certain coaches. Certain coaches are just an attraction. Players want to play for them. We know this about coaches like Pep. You've heard the coaches want to play for Jose Mourinho. Locally, certain players that want to play for Chicken George, for Edson Render, for example. And so you see all these things happening chiefly because this guy has got the pulling power, and so a club to secure certain signatures which in the long run are going to have an effect on their books, on their balances. They bring in this particular coach, a big name coach, for example, or a well-known coach to come and aid them on that front. You can also not forget the fact that there are certain coaches that have got the ability to attract other good support staff, for example. The level at which the game is moving now, there are certain support staff that are very critical in terms of ensuring that the club moves in a certain direction. And for this attracting power, sometimes you have to hire a certain level of caliber of a coach to be able to give you that pulling power. There are certain times that a dressing room could be struggling, really. There could be a lot of disunity, and so you need someone to knit the dressing room. And who else to turn to than a very experienced manager who's famed for man management. And then in the higher leagues, in the bigger leagues, certain coaches actually have got the pulling power, also in terms of sponsorship, also in terms of extra funding, and that could be the direction which even our leagues could be taking in the not so distant future. So based on that as a factor as well, the pulling power, the level of respect from peers, from fellow, from players and other stakeholders, clubs are going to make that decision of hiring a well-known bigger coach as compared to maybe a younger coach, if you like. Number 4, or is it number 5? Number 5 actually. Sometimes it's just about the football and management style that this club is interested in, and that's why they'll hire this coach that is already known as compared to a coach that is unknown. It's about the philosophy that this coach has demonstrated over a period of time, and they want this to be replicated at their club, and so they are going to bring in this coach to try and ensure that this is done. Other teams just want to restore maybe the pride that they've lost. They just want to restore their old ways, and so they are going to go to a coach who has got a history of being able to do that, and proven methods of being able to do that. And then others are very, very particular about the style of play that they have. You can talk about clubs like Barcelona. You can talk about clubs like Power Dynamos, for example, on the local front. You can talk about Mamelodi Sundowns on the other side. These are clubs that are not just going to hire a coach because he's okay, maybe because he's qualified or because he's available. They're going to hire a coach based on a lot of factors, and among them is, for example, restoring what they think, the identity that they think they've lost. It's about ensuring that there's a particular philosophy in play and matters of that sort. And so this is also another reason why the bigger or the older or the well-known coaches have over the little known or upcoming coaches. And number 6, sometimes clubs just want to hire someone because he's their own. He's played for this club before. He's a club legend, and they just feel right that they give this person an opportunity, and just because of that, it gives them an advantage. Sometimes it borders on what I prefer to call ex-pro privilege. This is something that people that have not really played football at the highest level, they don't really have this. Certain players, former players, with due respect to them, have gotten jobs over time and over the years chiefly because they've played for this particular football club, and because of that, the club thinks, well, let's give this guy a shot. After all, he's one of ours. And sometimes it may not be their own player, but then he might have worked at the club before in a different capacity. Maybe at that time the club was going through a good run, they won something, and they just want to bring this guy back to bring back the charm that the club might have lost. And so those are, I think those are the 5 plus 1 main reasons why clubs are going to keep rotating coaches or keep recycling coaches. Just to run through them once more, we say that number 1, we say that it's because of education levels and maybe regulation in certain leagues. We say these coaches have built names and brands over time. They are specialists, at something, promotion, avoiding the drop titles. We also said because of the pulling power and the respect that these coaches have got from peers and other players in the football industry. We can also not forget that there is an element of general football and management style, and also the fact that the club could be considering this person their own, and based on that they are going to hire someone. Again, if you like this content, don't forget to share, to like, to subscribe, and to leave a comment in the comment section, and let's keep being interactive. And so, having done that, now this is a situation, but what can young and upcoming coaches do to be able to position themselves to get these opportunities when they arise, and equally begin to change the narrative now and going forward? Very quickly, if you can look at them. Number one, I think young coaches must start where they are. Really start where you are. It could be a Division 2 team, it could be a Division 3 team. Look, there are very few people who are going to be privileged to have their first coaching job at the highest of levels. So you must start where you are. Make a name for yourself where you are. Build from there. Do the most that you can, and then you get the recognition that you deserve, and over time you're going to get the opportunities that you are looking for. I mean, this is something I've done before. I started with my own small academy, if you like. Then a club within our boundaries invited me over. We helped them in, I think, around 2013, 2014. They were trying to stay in the league. We helped them, and they managed to do that. Years on, I've shared my story. I moved to a different town. I got a chance there, and over the years this has kept happening. So the more time passes, the more practice you get, the more results you get, and all the work that you put in, definitely it gets recognition, and at some point you're equally going to get that. So I think young coaches must start from where they are. Number two, I think there must be a lot of young coaches should be actually looking for mentors, or get mentorship in both coaching and general management, because football, remember, it's more of it's not just an art or just a science. It's you are managing individuals at the end of the day. There has to be a lot of mentorship, and beyond that there has to be take up things like an apprenticeship. Offer yourself at a particular club, work under someone, learn the ropes, and until you get established. The other thing that I think young people, young coaches and upcoming coaches, or untested coaches, if you like, must do is that they must read more, they must study more. There's a lot of content out there which people can get into. Watch a lot of matches, actually do a lot of practice on the training pitch, exchange notes with other fellows. Number four, I think young coaches, upcoming coaches, the untested coaches should keep do a lot of courses. There are a lot of seminars that go on, and at a time like this, because of COVID, there are a lot of webinars that someone can subscribe to, be a part of this. There's a lot of new knowledge that keeps coming up. Remember, we said that football is equally a science, and because of the science part, a lot of information keep coming up, a lot of new trends, new ideas keep coming up, and it's important that all these are embraced. And also establish a good network. You never know who's going to give you an opportunity. Sometimes it could be a fellow young coach. They'll give you an opportunity somewhere. You work with them, and you never know where that leads. So I think once young coaches begin to do this, once the untested coaches begin to do this, start from where they are, get mentorship, apprenticeships, read more, do a lot of courses, and establishing networks. Once they begin to do these things, I think they are going to position themselves for opportunities. And remember, it can only be called an opportunity if it meets you when you are prepared. If you're not prepared and the opportunity comes, you cannot take it. So it's about preparation, and then the rest will follow. I think for this week, that's it. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you sometime soon. Until then, bye-bye and take care.